Awesome, awesome. Hey, everybody, we are live. Um, and I'm super excited to be able to introduce you to my next fiber folk. I love doing these interviews because I don't care if you work in a high rise building, you're still a fiber folk because you love soft things. And Dale Power is one of the most amazing people that I've met. Welcome, Dale.
Thanks.
I am
Thanks,
so glad
Annie.
that you're here. So Dale and I got together because Dale is launching and working with something that is amazing. Have you ever been miserable and just needed somebody to be a cheerleader and encourage you and thought, I don't even know how to do that? Or have you ever had somebody who needed cheering up and you didn't know how to encourage them? Dale's our encouragement expert, and she's launching something called the Encouragement Project. So, Dale, first off, tell us what encouragement is.
Well, so many people think encouragement is just a pat on the back. And I'm here to tell you what I call that is encouragement light.
Encouragement light.
um, Encouragement is a skill. It's actually a cluster of skills made up of observation and awareness and playfulness and listening and many other parts of it. And it is what I call rocket fuel in your pocket.
Ooh, I
Um,
love that. Rocket fuel in your
yeah, me
pocket.
too. Because it has the ability on any day to change a life, change a save a life, change a path, or make someone's day. And that's not a bad outcome.
Right.
We
So
all have that ability, and it's free, it's portable, and all you need is to learn how to use it a little better.
So I've always thought about encouragement as being like either people are encouraging people or they're not. It's a personality trait. But are you saying that's not a personality trait?
No,
It's a
it's a
skill that you can learn.
some people have that personality trait for
Okay.
sure, and they usually don't know it, which is always interesting.
Right.
But but it is a learnable skill, and it is such a life enhancer. It people who think they're missing something or feel like they don't have a purpose can find their purpose this way. It's pretty interesting.
So you mentioned it can save a life. How would that
Mhm.
happen?
Well, that's actually one of the ways this started is I learned about encouragement a long, long time ago by watching kids transform in front of my eyes that were being exposed in a very big way to encouragement and just noticing how it changed them in a very short time.
Right.
And then 5 years ago, I got a call on a Sunday morning. Went to see an art exhibit, and a fellow that had been a good friend of mine at Villanova called me and said, "I'm calling to say thank you." And I said, "What are you thanking me for?" And he said, "You saved my life." And I said, "Oh, can you remind me
And
what I did?"
how did you do that? Right.
Yeah, I have no memory of this. Very
Uh-huh.
dramatic.
Right.
And he said, "You knew I wanted to go to medical school, and you knew I wasn't working. You knew I was smoking weed." And he said, "You sat me down because encouragement doesn't always have to be sweetness and light."
I was gonna
And
say
he
you didn't
said,
do the pat on the back, encouragement
No,
light,
no,
right?
it was more a kick in the swift kick.
Uh-huh.
And
Encouraged him to go in a different direction?
yes, it sent him in a different direction.
Mhm.
It got him thinking anyway. And he gave up the weed and started working. And he came back to Chicago. He went to Mexico for his medical school and came back to Chicago, passed his boards the first time, and was invited to teach in the medical school at University of Chicago 3 years in. Then, the rest is history. And he's just retired from Harvard.
Wow.
He's a pretty amazing guy. It's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah.
And there are so many stories like that. Billy Joel, music teacher, said at his graduation, "I hope you'll consider being a professional musician." And it changed the course of his life.
Right. Right.
So
So
that's what I'm
it's
talking about.
so you're essentially dedicating your life to helping people build the skills of encouragement and encourage each other and build a culture and a community of people that can encourage each other and know how to do this. It can change the culture.
It can, and it does occur to me, and you and I have talked about this, that it maybe comes at a very good time right now, that it seems like the world could use a little encouragement.
Yeah. Yeah.
put it
Well,
mildly.
and, we've talked about so your background actually is in marketing too. So
Mhm.
you've been running a marketing consultancy for a long time,
Right. Mhm.
right? So it's kind of one of the ways that you and I've connected initially is finding and through that, how do you grow your business?
Right.
And, when we first started talking about encouragement and encouragement as part of a business setting. So we talk
Yes.
a lot
Oh my
here
gosh. It's
about
huge.
how
Yeah.
to do marketing, how to grow your business. How does encouragement fit into that?
Well, I mean, encouragement is a huge tool for engagement, but leaders, one of the biggest responsibility of a good leader is to develop their people. And
Mhm.
encouragement is a great way of learning how to develop people because it requires all of the skills it takes to develop people.
And do we need to how does that impact ourselves? Do we need to learn to encourage ourselves,
Oh, you think, yes.
especially as entrepreneurs and
Yeah,
especially as business people and creatives?
yes. I think that a lot of us have an inner dialogue that's pretty tough on ourselves.
Yeah.
And in order to be a good developer of people, you have to learn how to encourage yourself first, really.
That's
And, and stop that talk that's just, if somebody overheard it, they might call the police.
this is true.
Right?
This is
It
true.
could be pretty abusive. And
This is
yet,
true.
it's what we grew up with, or it's what we've learned how to
Right.
do, thinking we're motivating ourselves and we're just knocking ourselves to pieces.
So one of the things that you've talked about with the encouragement project is you're launching this with some small groups to learn these skills and maybe even
Right.
do some tiny experiments.
Oh, yeah. Tiny experiments are part of they're
So
kind of
tell
the
me an
backbone of the
example of
group.
one of the tiny experiments that you
Uh-huh.
think people might do in the encouragement project groups.
Oh, well, a fun one would be, I think, have you noticed that playfulness has kind of taken a back seat to a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of things along with humor?
Yeah.
So let's just choose that because it's something that you don't see that much. So having a week in this group where people start just entering the concept of playfulness and what is playfulness and how do you can be playful with your family, but how do you when you go to get coffee in the morning at the convenience store, how can you be playful while you're in line, or how can you be playful with a clerk that's getting your coffee, and
Interesting.
what could make their day? And
Yeah.
it can be as simple as changing your response when somebody says, how are you today, to
Mhm.
saying something like, if I was any better, they'd have to bronze me.
I like
So,
it. I
I
like
mean,
it.
but there's a lot of creativity there, a lot of creative possibilities there.
Mhm.
And so, creating that kind of surprise and delight then sets off a reaction,
Nice.
boom. And then
Right.
you don't know where it's going to go. And that's
Right.
fine. That's okay.
Right.
It might be more fun.
And it gives it back to us too at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. Because it allows us to laugh.
Right. So
Yeah.
I would from what you're describing, you kind of think of encouragement as, oh, this thing that either happens or it doesn't.
Right.
But what I love about what you're doing is you're creating a community where no, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to
Yes.
invest. I'm going to put my money where
Mhm.
my mouth is on this,
Yes.
that I want the world to change. Right. And a
Yes.
lot of us that are followers of Jesus and that our faith plays into this because we want the world to change.
Yeah. And
Right.
I really believe it is our responsibility to help
Yeah.
make that change.
So
I
how
think
does your
that's what we're
faith
here to
fit
do.
into all of this?
Oh, well, I mean, if you believe in God tapping you on the shoulder, I mean, I'm just a slow learner because this started probably over 20 years ago.
Right.
And it started with watching those kids. And
Mhm.
I got interested in it, but then I got busy because I left the school and started a business, and it was busy.
Yeah.
And but a lot of things happened along the way that kept reminding me to come back to this.
Yeah.
And I finally started the website, but my business was still really busy at the time.
Yeah.
So, I didn't give it I gave it sort of lip service. And then
Mhm.
this year I just decided to go for it.
I love it.
Just
So I all of us that have been in this entrepreneurial space are trying to grow a business or wanting to do what's at our heart
Right.
and what God's called us to do and make money and be able to pay our bills,
That
right?
too. Yep.
And one of the things that you're doing is you're taking something that is very, oh, we don't need to think about that. It'll just happen if it's supposed to happen. And
Mm,
you're making it into this is no, this is a skill that you can learn. This is something you
right.
can invest in, and it's worth it because it can change a life. It
Oh,
can change
yeah,
the path of your business. It can change, even make your day, right?
absolutely.
So you
Yeah,
mentioned the website, and I'm going to go ahead and
sure.
pop that address up here.
That's
So it's
great. Yep.
theencouragementproject.com.
Calm.
That's where we
Yes,
can find you.
correct.
So if someone's listening to us right now and they're like, "This is super cool,
Mhm,
and I never thought of encouragement this way, but boy, I'd love to be the kind of person
right.
that" I think the phrase you used was surprise and delight,
Yeah,
that can bring surprise and delight. That
yeah.
kind of person that when I come into the room, I
Mhm,
change the atmosphere. So those
right.
of us, who follow Jesus, sometimes we talk about shifting the atmosphere and we fight against,
Mhm,
oh, I don't beat people on the head with a Bible. Well, you know what? Let's
and
put all of that to the side and let's just focus. What if we just invested in learning the skills of encouragement?
yeah, how about
And
it?
invested in ourselves and invested in that.
Mhm.
So if that really lights us up, what have you got for us? What can we invest in?
I have 2 groups, 2 founding groups that I'm starting,
Okay,
beginning with. I just launched the website, and the first group is about, learning the skills of encouragement, and,
nice.
that's gonna be 3 months and for founding members, and then the second group is about it learning to encourage yourself, because it's
Nice.
awfully hard to learn how to encourage others until you learn how to encourage yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I love that. I love that because there's both. There's, "Oh, I'm good. I pretty much
Right.
I can encourage myself, but I don't know how to translate that
Yeah,
into leveraging how that works in my business and how I can use that skill in my life to really
right.
change life." You've got that opportunity there. And these are not big groups. That's just one of the
No, there are
things. A
only
lot of
6
times this
people.
type of thing is
Right.
launched as a movement, and we're gonna
Yes.
have tens of thousands of people,
Mm-mm.
and it's $25 and it's a lot
No,
of surface stuff. But you're
no.
looking for people that are ready to really
Yeah.
dive in to invest in this as
Yes.
an asset for themselves and their business
These
and their
people
lives.
are learners. They're people that are interested in developing themselves. They want a big life, and I don't mean big in terms of necessarily money, but they wanna make a big impact.
Yeah, yeah. Would you say that if you want to make an impact, that you probably wanna make investing in encouragement a priority?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
That it's really hard to make a big impact without this skill.
It's pretty hard when you're dragging your feet along the back of the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That you need to be able to encourage yourself, but you also need to have the skills to be able to translate that
you do.
into
And
encouraging
the
others.
confidence, because confidence is a big part of that.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people want to reach out to other people, but they're afraid.
Yeah,
They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of
right,
so many things.
right. So if I'm a person that I really wanna make a difference in the world, maybe this would be an investment that would be the place to start,
It'd be a great
rather
place to start.
than trying to figure out how to get a great big website up and get all of everybody to notice you. If you're
Yeah,
somebody who wants to have influence and wants to change
right.
environments and wants to make a mark,
Mhm.
this is a great place to get started.
It is.
I'm so excited that
Cool.
you've been here. I'm so excited. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing it with
Thanks
all
for
of us.
having me.
And the encouragement project is if we this is where we go to the website, and then we can
Mhm.
just contact you through the website, right?
Scroll down to the bottom and my email's down on the bottom
Perfect.
on
So
the
then we can
footer.
contact you directly because
Mhm.
these founding member groups, these beginning groups, this is really almost invitation only. So it's
Yes.
very, very much, we're not trying to launch with thousands and thousands of people. It's
Mm-mm.
launching this with some people who are really, really passionate about it. So don't wait and get in touch with Dale right away. So,
Great. Yeah.
so
Thanks, Tina.
thank you, Dale, for being here
Thank
as the
you.
business coach for fiber folks. I love to bring my folks stuff that will change their lives, and
Right.
I cannot thank you enough for
That's
what you're
great.
doing.
Thank you.
It may feel like
It's fun.
jumping off a cliff sometimes, but we all have to
Right.
do it, and God catches us and drives us, and I am
Yeah.
grateful for what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Me
So
too.
check it
Thank
out,
you.
guys, the Encouragement Project. If you want to find out more about the groups, make sure you contact Dale, sign up for the email list, get on this project because you do not want to miss what God's going to do with it next.
Great.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks
I'm
so
not
much.
telling you who's
Okay.
coming, but I can promise you it'll be great.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay.